And this week, our webinar will focus and feature Lamont Davis of KLD Industries. Before we interview with Lamont, however, we're going to go over a few things that we're doing in NWSP Partners and provide a few updates. As you guys can see our beautiful tulips that we have planted outside in the NWSP Partner area. This project was sponsored by the CNI, and that's Choice Neighborhood Initiative. This project was sponsored by the CNI, and that's Choice Neighborhood Initiative. Okay, and again, today our guest is Lamont Davis. He's representing Westcare in a program that's called Westcare Contract Capacity Program. So again, before we get started, just want to take a moment to talk a little bit about College Court. College Court is located on 34th and Highland. It's our facility within the NWSP Partners boundaries that we have seniors and people with disabilities. And in this time of the COVID-19, we've been trying to do our part to help their lives become just a little bit better. We've been collecting hand sanitizers, disinfectants, paper towels, hand lotions, laundry detergents, disposable gloves, things that they may have a difficult time gathering for themselves or continuing to, and things that they really need to use on a continuous basis. This represents one of our more challenged areas, people who are more susceptible to maybe the coronavirus than others. So we're doing our part, and we hope that you can help us by bringing your donations to our way station that's located at 1201 North 35th Street.
So friends, here we are. We just started the live feed, and I want to share with you right away.
So we take the donations from 9 a.m. to 4:30. It's a bin placed outside, so as you can see from the photo, it's really a no-touch zone. So you can drop off whatever you have, put into the bins as long as you see the sign out there. Our hours of operations is from 9:30 to 4:30. However, around noonish to 1, there's a little break there. So you may not see the donations outside at that time, but please, again, feel free to come and drop your donations off. We'll get them inside the doors, and we also will facilitate working with our CNI coordinator, Brittany Robeson and Bob Scotty, to help distribute them and get them to College Court. Okay, and again, we know that this is some challenging times, and the COVID virus is kind of hit standstill for a minute, but the expectations is that we might have a second wave. So to be prepared, please visit our website, check out our resources. They're great. It's an easy read, and it really has some pertinent information to help you fight and try to combat the COVID-19 virus. Now, with that being said, I'm going to introduce Lamont Davis, again, who's representing the Westcare Contractor Program. And we're going to ask Lamont to talk a little bit first about his unique qualifications for what he's doing. He's a really interesting person, and it's my honor to call him a friend. Lamont, can you tell us a little bit about yourself before you describe the program?
Take me off mute. Thanks, Bobby, for inviting me to share some time with the NWSP Partners. Having previously worked in the West Side with Keith, but West End Development, I have a special affinity for the neighborhood, and I'm hoping that the things that I provide today is going to lead to some growth and continued development, especially in people, because a lot of what I do is I invest in people, because they're the most component to any kind of change that you're looking to get done. Just an overview of myself is It's hard to talk about yourself sometimes, but I'll
I
just
get
say,
it.
yeah, I'm like most people. I think at some point you find out what you want to do in life, and then you start to pursue it. But if I look back and describe my youth, I had a lot of confusion about what I wanted to do in life. And I worked a bunch of jobs after high school. I didn't go straight to college. And I kind of worked a bunch of jobs until I was employed by the Social Development Commission, which is a large nonprofit organization. And there I learned a job training skill, which was carpentry, and but spent a lot of years at the Social Development Commission, 12 to be exact, and most of those were around the programs that serve people. So I learned a lot there. I administered the energy program, their weatherization program. I served time as a facilities manager, and also as a crime prevention manager, where we focus on securing the home of elderly individuals. And since that time, I went on to a few other areas, including working with W2, teaching a job skills training course there. And I worked at the West End Development Corporation probably around 2006, 2007 for a couple of years. And Keith and I had some fun there working on different development projects. And then after that, I wound up at the YMCA for a few years until 2012, when I was able to co-found a nonprofit organization called Community First. And Community First is an organization funded to do home repairs. And most of my history has been about home repairs and helping people age in place, secure the home, and more importantly, understanding that the home for many of us is our only asset builder that we have. And so if you're able to own a home, build some equity, save on some of the costs of renting versus home ownership, usually you're a few pennies ahead in the game.
Yeah.
Not always a lot of pennies, but a few pennies ahead.
Yeah. So it would be fair to say that the housing stock in the inner cities of Milwaukee, the northwest side in particular. The ages of the homes and some of the challenges that's there and how neglect could look.
Yeah, and I think that kind of brings me to where I'm at in my current level of career, is that, doing the work of home repair, what you realize is that we have a deficiency in the contractors that can do the repair, mainly because of those factors that you mentioned, Bobby. The age of the housing stock. Most of our homes are 100 years plus old. Many people have deferred maintenance because they couldn't afford it. And so you kind of patch the home up and you hope that you can get some money in the next year or two to take care of those things. And we're blessed to have very generously large size homes, but that also translates into a bigger budget to get repairs done. And so what we've seen is the trades, the skilled contractors who went through the union. Those positions have been mostly converted over into new construction, and people who are skilled through the union or big union companies are doing a lot of the commercial development, but no one's really focusing on the residential sector.
Yeah, Lamont, and that's a great point that you bring up, and that really explains how as a homeowner it's really hard to find a contractor that'll come to your house that's a good contractor. Going through high school, most of the time kids are pushed toward going to college, and college is not for everybody. Can you talk a little bit about the kind of quality of life that someone in a skilled trade could have?
Yeah, so the skills trade, what you're seeing an aging group of plumbers, electricians, carpenters who are on average in their 40s a lot of times. And I think when you look at what's available out there, we're talking about high, $70,000, $80,000 salaries that are available, and even six figures with overtime and supervisory level positions that are available. We have an excellent carpentry program through MATC, and we also have the Waukesha Technical College, which does a great program as well. But some of that is still dependent on people wanting to go on and do an institutional type approach to learning. But what we have sometimes in the community is we have contractors who've been around for a long time who are willing to take you under their wing and help you learn. But generally, you're going to see the wages been a little bit less. But once you're able to perfect your craft, there's ample opportunity for you to grow.
Okay. So, Lamont, can you tell me a little bit about the Westcare program that you are part of, helped develop, and why Westcare and why this program? What's the need for this program?
Sure. So what's creating the need for contractors is, in fact, good things. It's the robust real estate market that we have. People are spending more money on their home than any point in U.S. history. In fact, on average, the market has become a $450 billion industry. And just in comparison, when the economic downturn, the housing recession of 2008, the market was probably around 300 billion. So the market has grown exponentially over the last decade. And as I alluded to earlier, many people have left the residential sector and they're doing new development, commercial development, and other opportunities like that. And they're really not focusing on the residential sector. Yeah. So nonprofits are struggling. The city of Milwaukee is struggling to find qualified contractors. And so now they're looking at this as a possibility that we could do some different things to help increase the capacity of people who want to do contracting in the city of Milwaukee.
Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Westcare and your program offers kind of like a bridge of support to going from where you are to getting you qualified to do some of the work. Can you talk a little bit about how your program works with that? Because in our community, we have a lot of young men and women who may be looking for a change of career.
So there's some great agencies out here who are doing job training. I mentioned the institutions, the educational institutions. I mentioned private companies that are investing. I mentioned local guys who are investing. But most people are only investing in creating a new workforce. So our approach is a little bit different. We're looking to create skilled labor who can go on and become their own business. And so most of our guys are going to come in with some level of skill. And our goal is to create them into business owners, and they can pay it back and hire trainees from other programs. What I find often is that we tend to focus on getting the skill, but once someone gains that skill, they're kind of on their own. So we're helping to develop them with some business acumen, understanding where they can go for business, helping them get these certifications and licenses that they need, provide some back office support. Sometimes they need help with how to pay their taxes, how to do the proper bookkeeping, and those kind of skills, and as well as financial literacy. So our goal is to take for lack of a better term, the handyman, the tradesmen, people who are familiar with the industry, and turn them into business owners and allow them to reap some of the benefits of having their own company.
That's great. In fact, it's more than great. That's fantastic. And so in the city of Milwaukee, and I've heard, and so have many others heard, we have a lead problem. And lead abatement is a big thing. It's kind of, quieted down a little bit. But again, I would wager to say 75–80% of our housing stock has the lead laterals. And it's coming up time for, we know that the health department has some funds to try to address that. Do you know a little bit about that? Can you talk a little bit about that and how maybe your program or Westcare connects to that?
Sure, as well. Thank you, Bobby. So the one other component is lead. We all know about the ills of having a lead poison that affects us. I believe our community is under lead emergency, and there's evidence that bears that out. And so another component of Westcare's program is to get the city to commit to allowing a training program where we would replace 100 lead laterals using a master plumber. And we're looking to hire 12 individuals who have the ability to work in the plumbing industry, and they would be trained on the lead lateral replacement under a master plumber, with the goal is that we can help the city because we have a lesser cost to do our services, but we theorize that we're going to be able to do it just as well as an expensive company that may come out of a suburban area or a larger scale company. And I think it's a valuable skill. The average age of a plumber right now is 47 years old. So that market definitely needs some young legs to get in there and help those old guys get some work done.
Lamont, when I hear that, I hear retaining a dollar within a community.
That's right.
You know? I mean, you know, this way, I could see the vision of getting people in, getting them trained, people that live within the city of Milwaukee, doing the work within the city of Milwaukee, you know, reciprocating the dollar sum. I definitely see the value in that. So how do someone connect to your program or connect with you?
Well, the easiest point is to call me directly. I'm available most times. You give me a call, 414-788-8211, and I'll share my email and all of those information, and you can distribute it to your membership. But I would encourage people just to call me if you have issues going on with your house, if you have a young man that you want to put a game plan together that's in the home somewhere. Those are the kind of things that I like doing. And it's one of the reasons why I left my nonprofit to start my own company, so that I can be more of a social entrepreneur, because I think our next wave of change is going to come from social entrepreneurship, similar to what the Near West Side partners are all based on.
Yeah, Lamont, you took the words out of my mouth. I was kind of going that direction with, okay, we talked about the Westcare, we talked about the programming that happens there, but you yourself, KLD, tell us about it, man. What's that driving force? I know that this is your endeavor into creating that thing in which you've thought about for years.
Well, I have 3 children, and they all name starts with a K. And the K stands for any one of my kids, Kiara, Khalil, or Kari, who wants to join the LD, which is me. And so KLD is the reason for the name, because I intend this to be a family supported business. I think there's a wealth inequality issue going on in our neighborhoods. And one of the ways, as my son was approaching graduating from law school, and I'm very proud of him to have graduated from Marquette Law, he wasn't sure about what he wanted to do. He didn't want to go into law and just be in a cubicle somewhere, and he had some apprehension. And so I said, you know what, I'll start a business, and you can join me in business, and you can see that you can do anything that you can. And it's similar to why I went to college, because when he was 5 years old, he came home and told me that he was very happy he had graduated kindergarten. They gave him his diploma, and he wanted to put it on the mantle next to his mother, who had a college degree. And he said, oh, I forgot, Dad doesn't have one. And so
hey, right through the heart, huh?
Yeah, it hit me hard, and it forced me to get a college degree so that they wouldn't have an excuse of why they wouldn't go to college. And so I started my business so they won't have an excuse to say I don't know about starting a business. So like many of us, we do things to influence our next generation, and that's what I'm hoping to do, is influence the next generation to dream and confront their fears and go ahead and do what they have to do.
Wow, the job of parenting is never over, huh? When you think it's
never,
done, they find another way to keep you in the mix of getting into you to do things, right?
Well, Bobby, now I'm on my way to 5 grandchildren, which is a whole nother level. But the kids, they're about to get cut off because grandkids are doing everything.
I hear you. I hear you there, man. I hear you there. I got a couple grands right now. You know, I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, Lamont, it's been a pleasure speaking with you and hearing about, you know, your latest endeavor, and to hear about the Westcare KLD. You know, it's been a pleasure working with you over the years, and will be a pleasure to continue to work with you. Is there a way that you think that you could work inside the Near West Side Partners? Is there anything that the Near West Side Partners could do to kind of help facilitate or help this endeavor with you?
Well, you know, I'm looking to expand my services, but at the same time, part of being a social entrepreneur is also being able to give back. So I think that's a two-way street. Definitely, if there's homeowners who need help and they need to identify contractors, that's what I can do. I can act as a owner's representative. But also, if there's just community needs, if people just want to know about what's available in the community, especially on the housing forefront, that's what I really shine at. And that's what I want to continue to do, is be able to provide people the resources that they need to get what they need done. So I'm open to all kind of conversations and phone calls. And if you need me, I'm there, and vice versa.
Okay, and thank you for saying that, Lamont. That is exactly what I was hoping to hear. I know that, you know, one of the challenges in getting services from the city or getting work done is, you know, what do you need a permit? How much should this cost? Navigating what the city requirements are, and even to get some city funding, you have to know how to navigate the system and how to get things done. And I know that that's an expertise that you really has a strong suit for. So
well, thank you. And
for anyone listening to this, I would definitely recommend, if you need help putting together a scope of work or a plan for some work, or hiring a contractor, or looking for contractors or information, you know, please reach out to KLD.
Well, thank you for letting me spend Friday afternoon with you all. And I would just tell folks who are listening, if you have a dream, if you have something, it's never too late. Please always dream big and go out and pursue it. And you'll never be disappointed as long as you do what you wanted to do.
All right. Thank you, Lamont, again. I appreciate your time on this Friday evening. And with that being said, I don't think there's nothing else to add to that. That was beautiful. Right. Thank you guys for joining the Near West Side Partners weekly webinar, and look forward to seeing you guys. If you have comments, please place them in the chat room. If there's not an answer that I could get today, I would definitely get back with you with an answer. But thank you guys for sharing your time and evening with us as well. And we're signing off for today, and I'll see you next week. Have a beautiful weekend.
Right. Bye-bye, everyone.